dear ones. I'm Rev Briz,
I'm Rev Z.
and we're a couple of ministers talking shit. Welcome to episode number 20. Oh my gosh, Z, this is what, 5 months now we've been together? I think we have to have an anniversary party.
Yes, yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
So, welcome, dear ones. Welcome. I'm so glad you're with us. As I said, this is episode 20. We come to you every week here on Friday mornings as part of the New Thought Media Network, the most positively inspiring media network on the planet. And we're so grateful that you're here with us as well. And please do check out our back episodes. They're available on the video tab of the New Thought Media Network Facebook page. And there's links and all kinds of stuff in the description will get you there. So, okay, this week, to protect and serve, reactions and response. I think it would be very hard pressed to be living in America today and not have seen something around the news that's coming out of Wisconsin in the last week or so. And Z and I have been sitting here kind of mulling this over, looking at this, trying to find that spiritual perspective, looking for, not necessarily a solution, but a way forward. And I'll tell you, it seems like we do this just way too often, Z.
Yes, way too often where the scales of justice, if you will, seem to be teetering in ways that don't comply with the evidence or the situation at hand.
Yeah. And we get it. It's really tough to know what's true and what's not true anymore. We've
Yes,
talked about this on this show previously. We're living in a post-truth world. Everything's fake. Everything has the potential to be faked. Everything has the potential to be doctored. Uh, I saw one of those great memes yesterday, and you look at it, it's this beautiful mountain range, and it's supposedly a drone photo of this great beautiful mountain range in Alaska, and it looks like this beautiful woman reclining and sleeping, and it's digital art. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of digital art, but it's outright patently not real.
yes.
But I'll tell you, it looks really real.
Okay.
And unfortunately, the images we see coming out of Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin, we're talking about Jacob Blake, Kyle Rittenhouse here, the police chief in Kenosha. There's a lot going on. We said to protect and serve, reactions and response. Let's get to the reactions first, Z, and we'll get to a response in a little bit.
Yes. Well, I think, when you look at the response to Jacob's situation, now, as you know, now there's all kind of information coming out about past behaviors or past records, and there's some fact checking information out there that's indicating that it's not quite the way people are saying it for different things, and I don't even want to go into the different charges because in this case the response doesn't matter. When they responded to the case, if he had an open warrant, let's say, they would have known that if they did a check, but I don't think they had the time to get a name to check. They walked into a situation from what it appears right now, and they tried to they had an encounter with him, and I'm not sure yet, so I don't even want to put anything out there about what it was about. I know there was a call, and then you see a young man from the video clip part that was there. He's there with the officers. He's walking around his car. Supposedly he had a weapon of some sort. There was ample time to apprehend him if he had a weapon. If someone has a weapon, you don't let them walk away like that and follow them. All right, you may let them walk away.
Unless you're white.
Well, unless you're white, yes.
If you're white, you can walk around with a weapon all you want.
Yes.
Right.
And so now we have this whole situation. And one could ask the question, if that is that response, especially when you get to the shooting 7 times in the back, compared to Kyle, who's walking down the street with an AK in an open carry state, but you got to be 18 to carry. He was 17, and supposedly, again, I don't know if he was part of a police cadet outfit and a fire department outfit, as has been reported, but he walks down the street, people are hollering, he just shot someone, and there are 3 or 4 cop cars there, and he walks away. So those two responses, the serve and response part, did not work properly, at least the way it says it's supposed to work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is there. That's the basis of everything here, folks. Right? The system is broken. The system is unjust. It's inequitable. The system is racist, and the system. We're talking policing in America here. It was originally designed, and it continues to keep the black man down,
Yeah.
to really to keep those racist beliefs and tendencies and behaviors in place. And what we're seeing here, I saw a meme today that claims that Jacob Blake was tased, already already had a knife before, and all this is supposedly is happening behind the vehicle. The police haven't released any official information. I've only seen one video angle, and here's a meme coming out today, and I'm going to say it, being shared by a white guy who I suspect of racism. Don't have any proof, but I can tell you he's biased.
Yeah.
And the meme is claiming that he had been tased, that he had told the police he had a gun, that he told the police he was going to go get the gun, and it's all there to create division.
Right. There's no substantiation at this point. And so I get it. People are saying, "Oh, let's hurry up and do this, that, and the other." And I, as the system says, we want speedy trials, if you will. So we want things to go expeditiously, but at the same time, we want them to go equitably and thoroughly. So we don't want to jump to conclusions. But at the end of the day, you still got a 29-year-old kid who shot 7 times in the back, who now may be paralyzed for life. He has 4 kids.
Right.
And then you got a 17-year-old kid who was able to walk away, picked up, without incident. And
we're going to pay for him to live in maximum security for the rest of his life.
Without a doubt. And then you have and you can check some of these out. You have all these different cases, or you can find some of them on the internet, right? That shows where 2 people, same age, same state, similar background, so forth and so on, get charged with the exact same crime, and then there's a total different response. I mean, one that sticks out in my mind, there was this young lady, and I forget what state. She didn't give a correct address of where she lives, or her daughter could go to another school. And when they found out she was fabricating her address, she got 5 years in prison. And then the contrast they show is Felicia Hoffman, who did this whole thing with the kids trying to get into school, and she got like 2 weeks in jail.
Right.
And so the same kind of thing, trying to get your kid in a good school, but the response is totally different.
Right.
And you can find those over and over again for more serious crimes of robbery and drug possession. The sentencing for the same thing never seems to match when it goes across racial lines.
Yep. Yes. Very, very true. Very true. And I see the posts that remind me that in America today, people of color, every traffic stop is potentially a life-threatening situation.
Yes.
And it's not, this isn't speculation, folks, right? We can see the evidence. We see pictures of police approaching a vehicle with a black man, his hands above the steering wheel, and the officer's got his hand on his gun already. And he's not even up to the door, and he's not even up to the window yet. We have become, right, this country is born on the premise that you are innocent until proven guilty, unless you're a black man.
Yeah. And here's something that recently happened. A friend of mine who's white did a post of another friend of his who's black out in California about how he got stopped. And the person who got stopped is a professor. A white residence woman called and said someone tried to break in her home and gave a description. And then
Mm-hmm.
this guy was on a break before he went back to teach a class at the university. He
Mm-hmm.
got stopped, and because it says, "Oh, you fit the description." Well, at historically, the word was, well, they all look alike,
Right.
right? All blacks look alike. So they stopped him and said, "You got the same hat, this, that." 30 minutes later, 30 minutes later, he's surrounded by a bunch of cops. They've unflipped the snap on the holster. And, an hour and a half later, now he's traumatized. True
Right.
story, you
Yeah.
know. And so he was just going to get a burrito.
Right. Right. It's become right. It's dangerous if you're of color. It's dangerous to go get a burrito these days.
And one quick thing, he had his ID visible saying that he was a professor, and they never even bothered with that.
Right.
Actually went and got the woman to come and say, is this him or not?
Right. And she's sitting in the patrol car going, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. They all
Not,
look the same.
they all, exactly.
And that's good enough. And in today, and unfortunately, right, we make a little bit of light of this, folks, and we're not here to laugh at what's going on because this has to change. That this
Yes.
is the calling of our lives, of our right now in this moment. And we've been saying this for weeks, right? Humanity, the planet, is going through a great and amazing and glorious and sometimes very messy healing.
Yeah.
There are systems and pieces of our society that are crumbling away because they no longer serve, and there are pieces that are being raised up so that we can recognize truthfully the mistakes we have made. The
Yeah.
way I remember a saying I was taught very early on in this movement. It no matter how far you travel down the wrong road, it's never too late to turn and go back.
Yes.
Now we're not really going back. No matter how far you travel down the wrong road, sometimes you got to bushwhack off trail and get to the new road. And that's where we are right now. We're in the weeds. We are in the messy messiness because when a 17-year-old young adult can obtain a lethal weapon, travel across state lines to participate as a militia, to be to not be illegally deputized, but to be glorified by the police, to be appreciated and publicly thanked by the police for breaking the law, there's something wrong. And
Yeah.
those officers in Kenosha, they had an opportunity to interdict in this. They had an opportunity to stop this long before it happened. Kyle Rittenhouse would not be looking at the rest of his life in prison if they had just simply said, hey, man, we know we're an open carry state, but you look a little young. Can I see your ID? And they handed
Right.
him a bottle of water. We have all of this on video evidence, folks. This is not speculation. There's video of all of this. Instead of handing the kid, they could have handed him a bottle of water and said, great, now can I see your ID?
Yes.
And at that point, sorry, you're underage. We're going to confiscate this weapon. We're going to take you into custody at this point. Now, interestingly enough, in Wisconsin, it's only a misdemeanor to to open carry underage, but that still would have saved lives.
Right. And the other part of it is, as they definitely do it to African American black members of the community and brown members of the community, where they would have said, okay, you're underage, let's confiscate and charge you with this misdemeanor. But then they look for any and everything else. Okay, oh yeah, you brought that across state lines, now let's charge you with that. Oh, you out after curfew or whatever. They start making up all these different charges that could be valid. They
Right.
throw them all on you. And so now when you try to get the justice, the serve and protect piece of this, they've thrown so many different red herrings, if you will, onto the charge sheet that you get down and you start making pleas, is what they always do now. They
Yep.
they try to plead the case. They say, because we've got you on these 6 or 7 different charges. If we charge you on all that, you could be looking at 30 years in prison or whatever. Let's take this plea. We get you with this, and now you do 10 years in prison. All right. Well, that doesn't seem fair either. Especially when there's an opportunity to find out what really happened, get all these bogus charges off, and then let's deal with what really happened.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Jacob Blake is being charged with resisting arrest for not falling over the first time they got shot in the back for making him, and they're going to probably charge him for they'll probably charge him for the bullets.
Yeah. Well, I heard, now I don't know how true this is, but this is something that was reported that his father said that he's handcuffed in the hospital.
Right.
And I'm thinking, well, he's already paralyzed. Where's he going? Why do you need to handcuff him? Now, again, I'm as the thing, as the saying goes, trust but verify. So I'm going to trust his father is not going to make this up about his son, but it needs to be verified to be sure. But if it's true,
right,
why does he need to be handcuffed if he's paralyzed from the waist down? And they saying he may get some more movement, but they don't know.
Right. Hey, folks, Z's hitting on a really important topic here too. Trust and verify. Trust and verify. Late last night, I saw a picture start floating around the internet that is a picture of a woman with a gun. That's what we know. There's a picture of a woman, white woman, with a gun, with a long rifle. People are claiming that's Kyle's mom. And people are claiming that's Kyle's mom at the same rally, at the same protest. We got no proof of any of that. All we know that is the ultimate in speculation. That is the ultimate in fake news. That is the ultimate in this divisive energy that's rampant in America right now. I'm guilty of it. I don't trust anything anybody says anymore on social media. And sometimes I can debunk something in 30 seconds. Sometimes you dig around for 5 minutes and realize I'm wasting my time trying to figure out if this is real or not. But we've got to do that work. We have to be very diligent. We have to be very diligent in what we share in the next, from here forward. We have to be social media made it so easy for everybody in the world to be an expert, a pundit, a commentator, a media celebrity. It made it very easy and that's what we're doing here at New Thought Media Network. We're trying to change the dialogue. We're utilizing the power of this thing called the internet to reach a different audience, and we hope with a different message, something that is inspiring, something that's bringing you to a deeper understanding. But to do it, we got to have these tough conversations.
Yeah, and when you look at the topic of serve and protect, right? You come to the conclusion that, okay, we need to begin to first, as we said, verify, but number two, don't be so quick to jump to conclusions based on what may be false information and begin to become a propaganda horn for some of this stuff, because it hits home to some, pet peeve, if you will, because we all have it, right? We all have our own biases. Let's just be honest. There's none of us black, white, brown, yellow. It does not matter. We all have biases, which happens just because of the way we were raised. And that's just a fact. Now, once I know, there's the old saying, well, you put the button out there for me to push it. Well, then you need to remove that button. If every time something happens, that button gets automatically pushed, and we are now in a situation where we are not responding with intelligence, if you will, because we're not doing the research. If I'm a good computer guy. I can make up with all the technology now. I can make anything seem like anything.
Right. Yep.
And the
Very
better
good.
I am, the more conclusive you believe that thing, whether it's written, whether it's spoken, whether it's an image, it does not matter.
Yep. And nobody holds anybody accountable anymore, really, when it turns out to be false.
Right.
When something turns out to be, all right, um the speculation when Breonna Taylor was shot, killed, murdered by stupidity, let's call it. I don't think it was malice. I don't think they, but it was murdered by stupidity. And there were all kinds of people, all kinds of speculation, and it came back to none of that was true.
Yeah.
The truth is there are 3 white police officers that ought to be arrested for this that haven't been.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the world lost a dear soul that was here serving, that was really doing the work of serving.
Yep.
So we can look at these stories again and again, folks. And what we've got to do, however, is we also have to find that place of inspired action.
Yeah.
That place that, uh, because we can't be everywhere and we can't be all things, but we can serve. And I think we can serve. I think there's a lot of ways we can serve to protect our fellow friends, our beings, or fellow. I don't want to say fellow men. It's a little
The
gender
planet, but
insensitive.
just protect the planet.
Protect the planet. Yeah, and all its inhabitants. Right? And that does mean all of them, not
Yes.
just the ones I agree with.
Yes. And that's a good point, because the protect and serve goes beyond our uh, law enforcement, if you will, arm of this totality. It goes to everybody should be protecting and serving, and that means if some of these old adage, love your neighbor as you love yourself, and treat others like you want to be treated. We got all these adages, all these affirmations, if you will, of how we should be behaving, if you will, that will create a more unified bond, a more oneness, a more wholeness, that would allow us to take a second look or make another choice before we do certain things to other people, whether it's vilify them, or take a gun out and shoot at them, because what affects one affects all.
Right.
The outcome of this whole situation in Wisconsin will have some kind of effect on everyone in that town of Kenosha, where whether it's they're more apprehensive to go outside, or they feel more emboldened to go outside, or afraid to go, whatever it is, it will affect that whole community.
Yeah.
Just this one act.
Yeah.
Or 2 acts, if you will, with with the two situations that's going on there. Yeah. And so we have to begin, when we look at this from a spiritual perspective, as my brother Robert was saying, we have to begin to realize the connectedness of each other and begin to serve and protect as anybody, everybody, because yes. If we are one family under God, indivisible, and justice for all, then that's what we should be trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
One nation under God, indivisible. You can't separate it, and we need justice for all for this thing to really work.
Yep. It's why I don't unfriend anybody on Facebook, unless you're like really aggressively attacking the hell out of me. I keep you on my list.
Yeah.
Because we're in this together. I was sharing with LZ, I got unfriended this week by somebody after one comment.
Yeah.
And immediately just, nope, I don't like how you're saying, and I don't like what you're saying and how you're saying it, so I'm out of here. That's not getting us anywhere, folks.
No. And that's a good point, Robert, because when it's often you see if someone is not thinking and acting and talking the same way I am, we want to check out. Well, results come from dialogue because everybody's looking at this thing from different perspectives. So if I'm standing in front of the car, I mean, it's a prime example in the case with Jacobs, right? Jacob, that what's happening on one side of the car that I can see with the video, I don't know what's going on the other side of the car, but the person on that side has a better vantage point. So
Yeah.
they may say something and I may say, well, that's wrong because I didn't see it. But in actuality, it might be true because they're on the other side. And so we have to begin to allow for dialogue and conversation so that we begin to get a more holistic picture of situations and things and whatever, so that we can come to a better conclusion and
Right.
better response after anything happens.
Yeah. And you sparked in me just that remembrance that we're also looking at two very different responses to the police presence by the quote perpetrators that in this case. So the police look at Jacob as perpetrator, but let's look at how Jacob looks at the police.
Yes.
As a black man in America, chances are very high he's had more than his share of run-ins. Now, I don't know this is exactly true. I don't know exactly what his rap sheet looks like, but from what I understand, he's got a rap sheet of some sort. He may have been, there may have been a warrant out for him. We don't know. Uh, but regardless, his response to a police officer is going to be markedly different than a 17-year-old white kid who thinks he is one.
Right.
And we see that Jacob's shot in the back, and Kyle is able to walk straight down the street into the police's arms with everybody around shouting, he just shot somebody, and they don't do anything. They yell at him for being in the way and tell him to get out of the way, and they drive past him and let him go. And he walks off into the night. It is that disparity that we need to shift. It is that perspective that a white man with a gun is still safer than an unarmed black man.
Yeah.
It's trying to walk away. It's running away in many cases.
Yeah.
Right?
And you know, this whole uh concept and it, in the black community for hundreds of years, the idea has been we are criminalized even if we're not criminals. I mean, just the idea that you are a black man or a black woman in America, the idea that if you haven't done something, you're on your way to do something, or there's always this suspicion of criminality that is placed upon African American people, and the idea that someone is continually, collectively, not individually, but it also happens individually, collectively looked at, and because of a certain characteristic or behavior, as you were saying earlier, gets criminalized or marked for that thing for the rest of their life.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yes.
I mean, we have
There are
leaders.
accusations against what Jacob may or may not have done when he was 14 years old. And the man's pretty much twice that age. I have to believe that he has learned. I
Yes,
have to believe that he is not the person he was 14 years ago. Hell, most of us aren't the same person we were 5 years ago,
right. And we
six
have
months ago.
national leaders. We have national leaders right now who have those same kinds of allegations of impropriety, misappropriation, or whatever, and no one's vilifying them.
You're right. Or at least those that are vilifying him are being ignored
Yes.
by those that think he's God. Okay, we're going to stop there before we tread into some really dangerous waters because we could get ourselves in trouble if we keep going down this route, folks. So, maybe I think maybe we got to start a politics. Maybe we should have a show on presidential politics. No, all right, we'll see what the elect. I'm done. Hey, and you know what, folks? Look at that. Our time has just run out. So we're going to do a big shout out to the New Thought Media Network. Thank you so much for sponsoring this program. And this program is supported by viewers and listeners like you. So we want to thank you for your donations, your gifts, your tithes, your offerings, your financial support that keeps this network on the air, keeps us able to have these types of conversations and bring you this type of programming. And please check out our Facebook page. We have so much programming. Z, you want to give a little teaser here?
On the
We're
new
we're
thing?
we're working on a new project, folks. Z and I look October 1st. Just
Yes.
save the date, October 1st, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Thursdays at 1, starting on October 1st. We've got a new show, newer, longer format show. This show is going to remain here, Ministers Talking Bleep. We're going to be here with you every Friday morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And we're going to have something new coming for you in about a month. So a little bit different format.
Yeah. So my parting words is and call to action is trust but verify. Do your homework, ladies and gentlemen, so we don't spread poison that is just that poison.
Exactly. All right. Well, there, I think we have it. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll be back again next week. Until then, peace and blessings. We're Ministers Talking Shit. Peace out.
Peace and blessings.